The Top 100 archive and studio is on the verge of opening to the public. It will host programs related to the ongoing Top 100 project that is now in its 37th year. Exhibitions, videos, guest performances, and research initiatives are among the activities to be happening in the new space. The archive itself consists of thousands of paintings, millions of pages of lists, indexes, and essays, binders full of source materials, and shelves filled with music resources. Join me on the journey into the ever-expanding field where art meets music archaeology. This is the fourth video in the series, dedicated to making a drawing of a Topoke girl playing a lilolo, illustrating the tune Gorp percussion of the Top 100 2020 series.
Alright, I'm getting ready to start the next drawing in the Top 100 series 2020, and this will be the 26th drawing in that series, so the start of the second quarter, as it were. It's actually number 24 in the list. I've been going simply starting at number 1, but I've in the meantime I've done 2 drawings that are a bit lower on the list, so I have arrived at number 24, which is Gore percussion, and it's by the Topoke people, girls playing lilolos, which is the name for that instrument made out of gourds. In this image you see here, it illustrates that song on that record, the Topoke people of the Congo. It's a record by Folkway Records.
It comes from this album, the Topoke people of the Congo. And this is the song, gourd percussion. This percussion device, played by girls, is made of a fruit called lilolo. The fruit is cut in half in such a way that a membrane covers the flat side. The contents of the fruit are removed from under the membranes, and when the shells are dry, 2 small pebbles are inserted in each half. The dried halves are struck so that their flat side come together. The resulting sounds are those of the rattling pebbles and the percussion of the hollow shells. This is then the source image.
Playing is like, the association with playing is that there are games, and the more I think about it, the more I kind of like find myself delving into the history of music, or the essence of music, or the origin of music, the more I'm drawn to a conclusion that there is really a correlation between games and the essence of music. Playing and the essence of music. So this is also, the song that I illustrate as a game. And the whole Top 100 is kind of a game. If the whole concept of the Top 100, but making like the list and essential of a game is that you set yourself parameters. And I've been using like the same set of parameters ever since I started in 1983, and this like game kind of like continues to make these lists, and then the images, the illustrations, and making the artworks is kind of a game too. Of course there's no like winner or anything involved, but it has those characteristics of a game, in that I also set myself a set of parameters, and when this is fulfilled, the game is finished, and so I kind of formalize that for this drawing, and I'm setting myself a set of parameters. The first idea was to use a blue pen and just a ballpoint. It's a big, and to just like keep on drawing on this image until the pen runs out of ink. I have no idea how long that is going to be. It's like I don't know, 4/5 full or something. It's gonna take at least a few hours, but who knows? It may take like 6 hours. Remember this work by John Cage, who, by the way, also if you talk about like games and art, he'll be one person to look at, to investigate that matter. But he had also done a work with just like making marks on a piece of paper until it ran out of ink. So but I'm going to do it differently. I have here like assembled my art materials, and I'm going to do it all in blue. I'm going to set myself time limits. I have two blue pencils, a dark blue and a light blue. I have also two blues in my watercolor set here. Of course, I have the ballpoint pen, which is also kind of a dark aquamarine-like blue. And so I'm going to take stretches of a half hour. I'm going to start with a light pencil to kind of like sketch it out. And what I'm going to do is the first half hour, these are my parameters for the game. I spend a half hour making dots with the light blue pencil. Then I'm going to go to the dark blue pencil and I scribble. Then I'm going to go to the pen, and also a half hour I kind of like outline in pen or go over the scribbles and dots that I made so far. And then I'm using a half hour to fill in some spaces with watercolor. So that's 2 hours, and that's probably not enough. So after that I will repeat this procedure. So that's kind of what I'm intending to do. So I'm going to get started, and the first, I said I'm going to make dots, so the first dot is going to be the most important one, and so I'm going to set that dot. It's going to be right inside her left arm. Right arm, left arm. I'm going to place it right here. One dot. Let me look at the time. It is 1:40. So I'm going to keep this going until 2:10. I'll make a couple of dots, then I'm going to turn the camera off. And when I get close to the 2:10 mark, I'll turn it back on to to kind of like see the progress. After each half hour, I will also photograph to get a more close-up look. So with these first, like the first dots that I'm making, I'm simply kind of placing the figure on the paper. It's been a series of dots. So that is always and always has been the what I'm after when I make portraits. Something about portraits. It's about representing that person, and so you gotta capture something about that person that makes the portrait read as that is that person. Like a portrait, it captures a likeness, a spirit. One central word in portrait drawing I have always used in like teaching portrait drawing instead of empathy. You kind of have to subject and object kind of collapses, right? And the artist becomes one with the model, even though the model, in this case, and most of the time when I work on these works, is a photograph of a person. I remember suddenly one of the first music-related drawings that I did. I also did with dots. I just remember that it was a must have been like 16 or 17 or something, even before the top 100 started. I had this 45 that I really loved. It was Led Zeppelin's Whole Lotta Love, and it didn't have an original. It didn't have a sleeve, the original sleeve with it, and so what I did is I took the image from Led Zeppelin 1, which is a black and white Zeppelin, and I drew that on a piece of 7 by 7 inch paper and made that into a sleeve. So I've been making dots now for 25 minutes. 5 minutes to go in my half hour before I switch to the dark blue. And it's kind of fun making these dots, eh? I could go on and do the whole damn thing with this light blue pencil, making dots. It's, you know, gradually the image is appearing. I do realize that it's very hard to make adjustments, but it's still, you know, like this hand needs to be a little higher than where I had it, and with these dots it's kind of creating a bit of a confusing mess, but hey, deal with it, huh? Also, you know, unlike of the previous set of drawings that I did where I used spray paint for the background and cut stencils, this one is not going to have that, and I'm going to actually draw the background. So that means that I have to be concerned with the background much earlier than compared to previous drawings. So I'm starting to incorporate little by little the background. It's kind of amazing how much you like learn, you know, details about a photo that you don't really see otherwise. For example, there is in this photo there's a hand right there. I would have never spotted that hand. But anyway, what's important with the background, you know, there's going to be a lot of improvisation. I'm going to just, you know, make the background in accordance with the figure and not necessarily what's in the photograph. But what is important that I have to do with the background is that I have a that the horizon line is high up, because the way the photograph is shot, you know, the photographer is high up, and you look kind of like down on the girl in the photograph. So that is important. That is, you know, otherwise it doesn't just like doesn't look right. So in a minute I'll make a photograph of what I did, and you know, stick that right into the video I'm making, so you can, you know, see the progress of this. It's kind of pointless for you to watch me and listen to the sounds of dots on paper. Maybe it's meditative. Doing it is kind of meditative. So then I'm going to take a little break, and I'm going to start part 2 with the dark blue pencil. Scribbles, like I said. Alright, back at it. I took a little break, and so part 2 is scribbling with a 1.5 hour with a dark blue pencil. I'm a little worried about this because, anyway, oh no, it's gonna be fine. I can tell already. My first like few scribbles. So here we go. Scribbling for half an hour. All the while making adjustments to the composition just got this memory that I thought of, a really early memory, and it must have been like 5. It was in kindergarten, and I remember it clearly. In kinder, where I grew up, a small village, small rural village, which was still a like modern times hadn't really, it just started to, but it hadn't really taken a hold of life in the country yet. And so schools were segregated by gender. Yeah, so grade schools, I went to a boys' school, and then there was a girls' school. Kindergarten was not segregated. Kindergarten was both boys and girls. And small village, there's only like so many kids that are in like, 1 year. Anyway, this kindergarten school was situated right next to the girls' school. The boys' school was perhaps a half a kilometer away, something like that, just down the street. The girls' school was actually closer to my home where I live, and but anyway, so they in kindergarten, art, little creative projects was, they did that in kindergarten. So there was a lot of like drawing and little projects that involved making things, creating things, right? And so I was really into drawing already then, and I was pretty good at it. And so this one time I made a drawing which was apparently to the teacher such an impressive drawing that the teacher, she made me go show it off in the grade school next door. It was probably just like first grade that she marched me into, maybe second, I don't know, but anyway, so she made me go there, which was like, a little awkward. Here was this little boy, 5 years old, and with this drawing here, look, I did this, and my teacher wanted me to show this to you, kind of thing. But she made me do it, and I did it, and even though it was a little awkward, my memory does not tell me that I was like, it wasn't traumatic, let me put it that way, you know, it was, you know, a fairly positive experience, even though, you know, I was, you know, embarrassed. I was probably blushing when I was like in front of, you know, a class of like, you know, how many are in there? 20, 25 girls. But anyway, I showed that, you know, so that was that experience. So around that same time, I also remember that a comment from my favorite aunt, which was my godmother, Tante Geet, and she said, she may have said it more than one time, "Och, waar kan die toch mooi tekenen?" Which like translates into, "Gosh, that boy can draw pretty well." So and you know, and partly, of course, it was like, you know, meant as a compliment, like face value. But when I like relate back to it, it also has like a little implication of, like, you know, like something like, oh, that poor guy, or something like that, you know. And so I think she was perhaps a little worried about me, what would become of me. Yeah, I guess she was right. Nothing much became of me, even though, I mean, I didn't like, you know, end up bad or anything, but you know what next I should do? Is like I did before, when I, you know, did the video of making this Inuit family. That also, by the way, it seems like a common thread in this top 100. Also a drawing that illustrates a children's game of those Inuits. And what was funny, you know, I played that, so I'm going to play this song that I'm illustrating now in a minute here. What was funny, that when I posted this video on YouTube, I got a warning that, or not a warning, but an announcement that I would not be able to receive monies from advertisers. Because if I, you know, if advertisers would like glom on to this video, Folkways, which is today the Smithsonian Folkways, since, you know, the archive of the Smithsonian was bequeathed to Folkways. The phone is ringing, but I'm gonna ignore that. You will hear it ringing in the background as soon as I stop the video. I will see who called and call back if needed. Where was I? Oh yeah. So I got an announcement that, and I have no idea how they even figured it out. You know, of course I gave away like all the details of what I was playing, but you know, that because I was playing something in the Folkways catalog, I could not receive any revenue from advertisers. Not that advertisers would be interested in it. I mean, gosh, you know, like, it's been like 3 weeks since I posted that video, and I have like, you know, it had like 10 views, so no advertiser would be interested anyway. I'm still almost mindlessly working on this thing. I need to focus. Let me play this song. I can focus a little bit on the drawing, and so again, this song is probably because it's from the same company. Yeah, it's Folkways. It's Smithsonian, and so somehow I don't know if it's how they, like, is there like somebody who like reviews all these videos and then tracks where the sound like comes from, and if it has like any kind of like rights to the music, I don't know. But anyway, I'm gonna play this song regardless. So again, no commercial income from it. Yeah, it's called, what was it called? Gourd percussion. Girls playing. Here it goes. Woohoo! So this is, what you hear is this gourd that I have my pencil on right now. Called a lolo, the instrument. What they do is they cut it into, put like little seeds in it, and then with a membrane, put a membrane on it, stick it back together, and then it makes like a sound like this. It's pretty cool actually, right? Very short, minute 33. So instead of making dots, I'm just using scribbling, I'm using a circular motion with my pencil, and the volumes are kind of starting to fill in now, and like I said before, I need to, at the same time, it's over. Up, get rid of that. So I'll do the same thing as I did before. I'm gonna pause the recording and pick it back up. Before this was, this was all. I pause it for 10 minutes and then pick it back up when there's like 5 minutes left on the clock. For my squirrely part 2 of the game, that is this drawing titled Girl Playing Ilolo, Side 2, Band 5. That's the caption underneath the photo inside the booklet of the album. So 5 minutes left on the clock of this exercise of scribbling, and really I found myself engaged in this. It becomes kind of again like a mindless activity. My pencil hardly even leaves the paper, and it just like goes completely on automatic. All at the same time looking at the original source photograph, and it and the hand just kind of like mindlessly follow what the eye picks up on the photograph, and even more so than with the dots where there were pauses, even though sometimes the dots also would go like tap it tap it tap it tap it tap it tap. This really goes on completely like on automatic pilot, and you know the composition is now really established. And with the next thing I'm going to do with the pen, which is kind of like scary because a pen can be erased. I actually haven't used an eraser yet in creating this drawing, and so maybe that's like part of the challenge of this of the game now too, is to complete it without even once using the eraser. I have now also noticed that the decorations on the dress that the girl's wearing are butterflies. A background is, I kind of like where the background is going. So there's all these like, you know, circular, reminds me again of something else from like same period, perhaps a little later, maybe at this time I was 7 or so, and my sister, both my brother and sister are quite a bit older than I am. So when I was playing, I was typically like playing by myself, and the type of plays I did are like, in a way, like so similar as to this whole Top 100 project. What I would do, my favorite toys were miniature cars. Dinky Toys they were called. That was, I guess, the brand name, Dinky Toys. And I had a bunch of those, and I would race them against one another. And I would make charts, and I would keep track, you know, like how they do it in like the Formula 1. If you win one race, you get like so many points, 15 or something, and then, and you know, etc. It's kind of like doing it, you know, the top 10 system that I have been doing in my Top 100. And I would like, you know, continuously race these cars with one another, and you know, and one car then at the end would be the champion. And of course I was too like cheating in that game too, because I wanted my favorite cars to win. And one way or another I always made my favorite cars win. There's, you know, something competitive about, maybe boys are more competitive than girls, even though in games there's always, you know, like a winner. With like girls' games, it doesn't seem to be about who won. It's really about like the joy of playing the game. But boys, it matters who won. Anyway, what I was saying, this other memory I had. So my sister was doing, you know, apparently a high school project or something, and she had to draw something, and she was drawing with colored pencils like I'm doing now, and she said, I hate it because you can see all these lines that the pencil makes. And so my automatic response was, you know, little smart ass guy, 7 years old, why don't you draw in circles? Duh. That's what I'm doing right now, drawing in circles. You don't see any lines, even though every circle is also a line. Anyway. So my half hour is nearly up again. I'm going to take another break and probably have a beer. That sounds good. And I upload what I have so far on the computer, and you know, check back in half an hour, where I'm going to do my third half hour's worth of working on this drawing, and this is with pen. It's again, the beginning is going to be quite scary because, like I said, that pen, I mean, it's there. So the plan was to use the pen to outline like some of these marks. I don't know about that, but we'll see. Okay? Phone is ringing again. This time I get it. Part 3 of my drawing game, and this is pen. Ooh, yes. So the idea was that I would like outline my marks and pencil. Of course, the pen is, and you can probably like see it in the video too. That's gonna show up, and so this is the of the 3 sessions. This is the session that matters. So as you see, I'm starting like real hesitant, but I'm sure that once I get into it, and once there's more pen visible, it's gonna become an automatic action again. I had to take a lengthy break because I had to charge the battery of the camera. It cut off 5 minutes into the second or when I started working with pen, and you know, as soon as I got into the groove with the pen and it started to become automatic, I started on a rather philosophical monologue, and it's too bad because that was all cut off. And I knew a few things I was talking about, but not the whole thing. But maybe I can get back into, you know, it'll come back up once I start like working again. So this is the 4th part, the 4th half hour. And so the idea is to use watercolor. It's starting to like fill in greatly, this thing. Well, I don't know about really it's the right thing to do, but like with everything, just gotta do it. Since that was the game I set up. Let me look at the clock. It's 5 till 8 now, so I'm going to go to 8:25. By that time it will be dark. So this little monologue, it certainly had to do with subject matter. You know, it's the first thing I should say about subject matter. You know, ever since I started doing this Top 100 project, these paintings and drawings, you know, the subject matter was already like established because it's, you know, whatever's in the list, that's who I'm gonna paint. And then, especially perhaps in the last decade of me doing this is 37 years now, in the last decade, the subject matters have become more and more what you would call maybe the exotic type, and therefore, and I'm well aware of this, therefore these drawings, you know, could be, I could imagine a critique of like exoticism, you know, or you know, something in that ballpark, or you know, like colonialism and that sort of things. Especially now in this, when this BLM, Black Lives Matter movement is going on, it's certainly, a time to self-reflect, and I've always been self-reflective about it. It hasn't kept me from doing these subject matters, even though it may not be politically correct. But and perhaps me writing about it and talking about it is that is my not defense, but it's self-awareness about like these issues, at least. So perhaps like early on, the music that I listened to, and therefore the portraits that I drew, were often individuals that I could somehow like self-identify with. But as time has moved along, more and more the subjects are, what you would call in philosophy the other. That many people of color, women, non-Europeans, all those things that I am not. And now this year added to the mix is children, and so there's something awkward about painting children. Not like awkward, but just the choice of me getting older and painting children. This was in the late 90s. I lived in Columbus, Ohio at the time. This was at Milo. I lived in Milo, kind of an artist-type community. And there was this painter, an older man. And he was a really good painter and fairly respected too. But so he must have been in the 70s. And he was painting these young children, girls, and I found that even though the paintings were beautiful and they were kind of like intense, but I found it a little creepy. So I need to avoid that. I need to keep a close eye on myself that this is not going in that direction. Yeah. That was a little bit the gist of what I was talking about when the camera shut off. But it was at least 10 minutes that I was talking about that. So that is not. This was much shorter. I have no idea what all I said. It's probably fate. It wasn't meant to be recorded. Perhaps. That's the watercolor surely softens all these pen marks. And what I'm doing now is basically just kind of like following these pen marks and softening them out, adding the value in the process. dot 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 dot. Yeah. Gosh. Half hour of this. Wonder if I at some point doing this for half an hour, if I can make it like specific somehow, to like somehow make it have a function. That is, but I'm just going to keep going. So that'd be how fast does this go? Let me count. About 4 dots per second. So a half hour, 30 minutes. 30 minutes times 60 seconds is 2,400 seconds. Does that sound right? Times 4 dots per second, that's going to be 10,000 dots. First thing that I'm going to do is write down the title of this image, which is the caption underneath the photograph that was found in the booklet that comes with the LP. And so I think I'm going to do it in all capitals, like the photograph. Girl playing Lilolo. Side 2. I had that do it, I don't know why, but since it's the caption of the photograph, band 5. And that is then precisely the song. The song is labeled on the record chord percussion. And the artist that is listed for it, girls playing lilo chords. Let me write that there too. Girls, nothing capitals this time, playing lilo chords. It was recorded by J. Camps. Probably Jan Kamps, I imagine. Congo, Belgium, right? It was still a colony. When was it recorded anyway? I have the booklet here somewhere. It's up here. There it is. You can probably see it in the corner of the screen. Does it say when it was recorded? It's recorded. I can find out real quick. Here. If I go to the website, if I go to the Smithsonian Folkways website, it will say there. It was released in 1959. It doesn't say when it was recorded. Typically, just like 2 or 3 years before that. So, my guess is 1950s. So, the album then. Album. The Topoke people. I really need to sharpen this pencil. That's better. Of the Congo. And I've seen now also that it is indeed the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So the next thing and last thing that I'm going to write down here then is COVID-19 stats. DRC, Democratic Republic of the Congo, and I have that open too. There it is, DRC, 7,311 cases, 179 deaths, and this is today, and today is 07 July 03 2020. That'll do that. And now I'm gonna start like, ooh, yeah, it works. Scribbling again. This top 100, by the way, 2020. Like I said, the list is almost finalized. Perhaps 2 more or 3 more top 10s to be added to it, and perhaps just 1 or 2 songs added to the list of 100. But it's probably the shortest one ever. Most of these songs, there's a lot from like this one from the Smithsonian Folkways, and those are typically short. They didn't back then. It's changed now because context is really important now, which it wasn't so much. These are field recordings, academic recordings, but still they thought of sometimes these songs are embedded in ceremonies, and those ceremonies last sometimes hours, sometimes a whole day or a whole night or something. But these are the songs that appear on those LPs. They're all between, well, not all, but most are minutes, sometimes 2 minutes or 3, but not really beyond that. And there's very little classical music or jazz music, tunes that tend to be long. There's one by Mingus in the list, Charles Mingus, that is about 10 minutes. And then I wish I could think of some more stories to tell you while I'm in the process of doing that, but I can't really think of anything. You might occasionally in the background, I'm not sure if that's gonna record or not, but people in the neighborhood starting to light up some fireworks. Tomorrow is July 4th, which is of course a big celebration day. There's lots of fireworks in the US, and also I'm hearing, but just very faintly in the background, the goats next door. They got a couple of goats and they got bells on, and so I'm hearing that. Well, I heard it more outside, but very faint bell sound. I doubt if that registers on the sound recording. Such is life here in Fort Myers, Florida. Almost full moon. This half hour is actually progressing real fast for me. Simply, especially compared to the 2 previous sessions. It's probably because there's a little bit more purpose to this thing, because every mark I make shows up and alters. I feel like so much ballpoint. I'm smelling the ballpoint it's getting into nostrils. I'm feeling like this Belgium artist, Jan Fabre, who makes these like obsessive ballpoint drawings. In one work of his, he covered a whole building with blue ballpoint pens. He probably had assistants doing that, but still. I forgot what it was, but it's mentioned in the review how many pens he went through. It's really incredible. Jan Fabre. There's always a precedent for anything. Precedent. Nothing is truly original. The final of the 8 sessions. Second one with watercolor. And then it's done. I'm just going to use only the ultramarine. Stay away from the cobalt. And I'm thinking I'm just repeating everything I've done in pen in the previous one. We'll give it more depth. That's an appropriate term to use. It's really overkill what I'm doing for the last hour, but it's been a good use of my Friday afternoon and evening. So I will be done with this at 10 after 11. My cat is sound asleep now. The moon is out, almost full. And it's fun now. It's the idea of a game, huh? Down to the final minutes. Very exciting to actually follow all the way through, and I'm quite pleased with the results. She look adorable.
And this is it for today. Hope you liked the video. Find the Top 100 Archive and Studio on Facebook and subscribe to it to get updates on new posts, new events. Like this video and subscribe to this channel, the Top 100 Archive and Studio. There is also a Patreon account linked to this series of videos. Consider to become a sustaining member. The link to this account is found below in the comments to this video. Have a wonderful day, and until the next video then, bye.